where the briefing has just wrapped up, Govan, and to quote the Minister, these numbers paint a rosy picture of the crime situation in the country.
Yeah, that's what the Police Minister says, Bheki Cele. Of course, that's thanks not only to the increased police deployment in conjunction with the Army, as well as Metro Cops and the National Joint Structure, but primarily because of the restrictions imposed, the lockdown, including the curfew and the restricted movement across the country. And let's take a look at some of the crimes and how they've declined, the most significant among them being the big drop in the number of sexual offences recorded, that dropping by 39%, and the number of rapes decreased by over 40%, 40.4%. But of course, rape is underreported in South Africa, so that probably doesn't represent the true extent of it. But the Police Minister happy with the trajectory of the crime stats. He says that it's not the real picture, but it's a base that they can work off. The National Commission is saying they want to maintain these kind of statistics. They also noted that contact crimes decreased by about 30%, and there was a sharp decrease in the number of home robberies. The burglaries at home decreased by about 30%, but there was an increase in the number of business premises that were robbed, and that's because more schools and educational facilities and liquor stores were targeted during the lockdown. A total of over 1,200 liquor stores that were robbed during the lockdown, Bheki Cele, and over 2,000 schools that were burgled during the lockdown. So these are the stats. Let's have a look at what the Police Minister had to say about this rosy picture and crime holiday.
Indeed, the statistics we will release today paint a never-seen before rosy picture of peaceful South Africa experiencing a crime holiday. Ladies and gentlemen, of course, we know that the decreased crime levels were impacted largely by the fact that South Africans heeded the call to stay at home. And it goes without saying that the conditions for crime to thrive were not normal. There were also more boots on the ground to ensure high policy visibility and mass adherence to the Disaster Management Act. While we can't claim easy victories and tell no lies, we acknowledge that the circumstances that led to the declining numbers were distorted. But even if distorted, it was a better time in South Africa because more lives were saved.
And Govan, how have police been affected by the increased deployment as a result of the lockdown?
Well, the increased presence of the police across the country, of course, means that they would have come in contact with the coronavirus, and that the Police Minister says has happened, and over 160 police officers have died from the virus, while about 14,000 police officers have tested positive for the coronavirus. But they've done their jobs and put themselves at risk of contracting the virus because of the additional regulations that needed to be enforced. And with regard to that, the Police Minister says that they had made almost 300,000 arrests of people who contravened the Disaster Management Act. And those people now, of course, face these charges and could end up with a criminal record. In that regard, Police Minister saying that the Justice Minister will look at whether or not these criminal records should be expunged, or whether people could be let off with something less serious. And the police saying that obviously there was a lot to do in terms of processing the people who are breaking the disaster management regulations, but within this period he hasn't forgotten that the officers that are on the front line are putting themselves at risk. Let's have a look at what the Police Minister had to say.
Despite our best efforts to keep the virus at bay by wearing protective equipment, sanitizing our hands, vehicles and workstations, and by maintaining social distancing while enforcing the law, over 14,000 of our members tested positive COVID-19. Majority of these infections occurred when the officers were on the line of duty. Let me take this opportunity to also extend my heartfelt condolences to the officers in blue who have lost their fight against the deadly pandemic. A total of 163 of them up to date, they've lost their lives and from the virus, while over 9,563 of them have recovered.
ENC reporter Govan Whittles at the briefing there by the Police Minister on the latest crime statistics. The first quarterly release, Govan. For now, thank you.